Let's take a minute to review the learning goals for Chapter 9. This chapter brought us back to the concepts of opportunity cost, comparative advantage, and absolute advantage as we focused on concepts related to international trade. As this chapter focused on trade, it closely relates to our foundational economic tenet that voluntary trade creates wealth. Much of this chapter focuses on the idea of free trade, or trade without barriers. These barriers include tariffs, imports, exports, quotas, and voluntary export restraints. We used our knowledge about the roots of trade lying in opportunity cost to see how free trade promotes economic efficiency as measured by consumer and producer surplus being maximized. We also learned how to extend from comparative advantage to understand and calculate terms of trade. We talked about some of the arguments made for imposition of trade barriers, a practice that falls under the heading of protectionism. We also learned how, with the growth of international trade related to the idea of globalization, that international organizations such as the WTO have been formed to support free trade. In listening to our podcasts, we learned about trade disputes in the WTO, which can include dumping, though our podcast didn't focus on that, and about arguments for and against free trade. We can use this consideration of the pros and cons of globalization and free trade as a way to learn more about the tenet that rational behavior requires weighing costs and benefits at the margin. If we want to try to promote domestic firms and jobs through protectionist policies, we should consider in an informed way the marginal benefits and costs that would come from such a decision to make a rational choice. If you're ready, you should turn your focus now to reviewing for the midterm exam. At this point, we've covered chapters 1 through 4, as well as 6 and 9. You can use the module materials to review and prepare for the exam. Remember, you can always bring any questions you have to my office hours or to the tutor for this course. Keep an eye on the announcements section of EC Learn, where you'll likely see a date for a review session for the midterm exam to be held with the tutor.